Hope you're doing well today, my friend. If you're an adoptee watching this and you still haven't been confident enough to share your story and your lived experience, hopefully I will have built a case strong enough for you to feel confident enough to share your story. And always understand that you are under no obligation or fear or anything or shame to share any part of your story. That includes to family members, to therapists, professionals, people online. You are under no obligation to share any part of your story that you do not want to. Never let anybody tell you that you have to share your story. But once you are comfortable sharing parts of your story, it can be very, very healing and freeing and help you grow to share your lived experience. Now, in this video, I'm going to go into why adoptees are the experts in adoption. So, number one, we have lived experience. Nobody can argue with that. Nobody can tell you you're right or wrong. It's just your experience if you are telling it in an authentic way. We have firsthand knowledge. Adoptees know what it feels like to be adopted, navigating identity, belonging, and the complexities of family dynamics. We have lifelong perspective. Adoption impacts an individual throughout their life, and adoptees are the only ones who experience this journey from childhood to adulthood. Diverse narratives. Adoptees come from a variety of circumstances: domestic, international, foster care, kinship adoption, and each story contributes to a fuller understanding of adoption. Number two, we have unique challenges, identity and belonging. Adoptees are often grapple with the questions about their origins, cultural identity, sense of self. Their insights highlight the emotional and psychological effects of adoption. We have loss and trauma. Adoption begins with loss. This is it's 100% fact. It begins with loss. It's built on loss. Separation from biological family. Adoptees can speak on how this impacts their mental health and relationships over time. Cultural nuances. For transracial or international adoptees, they can explain the complexities of growing up in a family or community that doesn't reflect their racial, cultural, or ethnic heritage. I've gone over that so many times on this channel. I probably repeat myself, and I apologize for people who have to listen to the same story over and over again. It's just my experience. Number three, we are advocates for ethical practices. Spotting red flags. Adoptees are often attuned to unethical practices in adoption systems such as coercion, lack of transparency, or exploitation. Centering the child. Adoptees remind others that adoption is about the well-being of the child, not the desires of adopted parents or agencies. This is extremely vital. Most adoptee advocates are child-centered over adopted parents' voices. Adoption and child-centered care is not the same as adoption. Two completely legal different things. Number four, educational opportunities. Breaking myths. Adoptees can challenge the misconceptions, such as the idea that adoption is always a happy ending, in quotes, or that love alone is enough to address the complex issues of adoption. We encourage empathy. Hearing directly from adoptees foster greater understanding and empathy, helping others recognize the lifelong impact of adoption. Number five is diverse voices for systemic change. Representation matters. Adoptees bring their voices to policy discussions, ensuring that laws and practices prioritize the needs of children. That's all we're advocating for, is the next generation. Advocacy and reform. Many adoptees push for more transparency, access to original birth certificates, and better post-adoption support. Why others should listen. Respect and validation. Listening validates the adoptee's experience and ensures they are not silenced in conversations that directly affect them. My last video was on selective mutism, and it just popped up in my mind. Why do you think we have selective mutism? We're often silenced. Better outcomes. Educating adopted parents, agencies, and policymakers based on the adoptee insights leads to healthier families, and more ethical adoption practices. Healing and connection. Acknowledging adoptee voices can promote healing for everyone involved in the adoption process by fostering more honest and open conversations. By centering adoptee voices, we create more inclusive ethical and informed approach to adoption that respects the experiences of those most affected by it. The most affected by it are us as adoptees. And that's why we need to speak up. Nothing's going to change if we don't use our voices to speak up our truths, and being authentic and coming out of the adoption fog is the only way to really speak about our authentic stories.